The champagne flute trembles in my hand as I stare at the text message on my phone screen. 3 simple words from my mother that make my stomach clench. We're coming tomorrow. Not a question, not a request. A statement of fact, as if my new home has already become theirs to claim whenever they please. I'm standing in the kitchen of the house Ethan and I bought 3 months ago, sunlight streaming through windows we spent weeks choosing, illuminating countertops we selected together during countless Saturday afternoons at home improvement stores. Everything here represents our choices, our dreams, our life built carefully away from the family that never wanted to be part of it in the first place. My thumb hovers over the screen, rereading the message sent at 7:43 this morning. Your father, sister, and I are coming over tomorrow. We need to celebrate your new place. The exclamation point feels aggressive, forced, like enthusiasm applied with a sledgehammer. I should feel something at the prospect of seeing them. Excitement, perhaps, nervousness, even anger would make sense. Instead, there's just this hollow sensation in my chest, an emptiness carved out by years of being the daughter who didn't quite measure up, the sister who existed in permanent shadow. The coffee maker beeps, pulling me from my thoughts. I pour myself a cup, the familiar ritual grounding me in the present moment. Through the kitchen window, I can see our backyard, still needing landscaping work, but promising. Ethan wants to build a deck this summer. We've talked about planting tomatoes, maybe some herbs, simple dreams that feel monumental because they're ours. My phone buzzes again. This time it's a text from Madison, my younger sister. Mom says you invited us over tomorrow, finally acting like real family. See you then. I haven't invited anyone. I haven't even responded to my mother's message yet, but that's always been their way. Deciding things for me, assuming my compliance, never considering that I might have my own plans, my own life that doesn't revolve around their schedules and demands. Setting my phone face down on the counter, I walk to the living room where wedding photos sit in frames on the bookshelf. Ethan and I laughing as we cut the cake. My best friend Clara holding my bouquet. Ethan's parents beaming beside us during the ceremony. What's missing from these photos is as telling as what's present. No mother adjusting my veil, no father walking me down the aisle, no sister standing as maid of honor. The memory of sending those wedding invitations still stings. I'd spent hours selecting the perfect stationery, cream-colored cardstock with delicate floral borders. I'd written personal notes inside each one, trying to make my family feel special, wanted, essential to the day I'd been dreaming about since childhood. My mother's response came via text 3 days after I mailed the invitations. Are you crazy? Why would we waste our time on you? 10 words that gutted me more effectively than any knife could have. No explanation, no softening of the blow, just naked dismissal, delivered with the casualness of someone declining a dinner invitation. I'd called her immediately, hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. Mom, it's my wedding. I know we've had our differences, but this is important to me. Important to you, she'd repeated, her voice flat. Everything's always about what's important to you, Harper. Some of us have real obligations. Madison has that charity gala the same weekend, and your father and I promised we'd attend with her. You understand? I didn't understand. The charity gala wasn't even the same day as my wedding. My ceremony was on a Saturday afternoon. The gala was Friday evening. They could have done both. They chose not to. But Mom, I'm getting married. Your daughter is getting married. And Madison is being honored at one of the most prestigious events of the season. She's receiving an award for her fundraising work. This is a big deal for her career. My wedding is a big deal for my life. The silence that followed stretched so long, I thought she'd hung up. Then she sighed, that particular sound she'd perfected over the years, conveying disappointment and burden in equal measure. Harper, you've always been so dramatic. It's just a wedding. People get married all the time. What Madison is doing actually matters. I'd ended the call without saying goodbye, my vision blurred by tears I refused to let fall until after I hung up. Ethan found me sitting on our apartment floor, back against the couch, phone clutched in my hand like evidence of a crime. "They're not coming," I'd whispered, and he'd simply sat beside me, pulling me against his chest, letting me cry without trying to fix it, without offering empty platitudes about how they'd come around eventually. The wedding day itself existed in my memory like a photograph shot, slightly out of focus. Beautiful, yes. The venue was everything we'd hoped for. A historic mansion with gardens that bloomed in late spring abundance. Clara stood beside me as maid of honor, fierce and protective, checking her phone every few minutes as if my family might still appear. Ethan's mother had stepped in where mine should have been, helping me with my dress, making sure I ate something before the ceremony, taking photos with me that I'd treasure forever. His father had offered to walk me down the aisle when I explained my own father wouldn't be there. "I'd be honored," he'd said, his eyes suspiciously bright. "But Harper, you don't need anyone to give you away. You're not property to be transferred. Walk yourself down that aisle. Own every step." So I had. I'd walked alone down that petal-strewn path, my bouquet trembling slightly in my hands, past rows of friends and Ethan's family, toward the man who'd chosen me completely when my own family had chosen everything else. The ceremony was perfect in ways that had nothing to do with perfection. My voice cracked when I said my vows. Ethan's hands shook when he placed the ring on my finger. His cousin's baby cried during the readings, and someone's phone went off during the kiss. It was real and messy and ours. But underneath the joy ran a current of grief I couldn't quite shake. Every glance toward empty seats where my parents should have been sitting. Every moment I instinctively looked for my mother's approval before remembering she wasn't there. The father-daughter dance that didn't happen. The mother-daughter photo that would never exist. Clara had cornered me in the bridal suite during the reception. "You don't have to pretend this doesn't hurt," she'd said, fixing a curl that had escaped from my updo. "You're allowed to be angry." "I'm trying not to be. It's my wedding day. I should be happy." "You can be both. Happy and hurt. They're not mutually exclusive." She'd been right, though I couldn't fully admit it then. The wedding was both the best and one of the hardest days of my life. Celebrating love while mourning family, dancing with joy while feeling the weight of their absence in every photograph that would forever show empty spaces where they should have been. Now, standing in our new kitchen 3 months later, I wonder what changed. What made our home worthy of celebration when our marriage wasn't? The house is bigger than our apartment, certainly. More impressive. The kind of property that photographs well for social media, that generates the right kind of envious comments from friends and acquaintances. My mother has always cared deeply about appearances, about maintaining the image of a perfect family, even when the reality was anything but. Growing up, our house was a showpiece, immaculate and cold, every surface polished to reflection, every object placed with deliberate precision. Madison and I weren't children who lived there so much as accessories to be displayed when guests visited and hidden away when our noise or mess threatened the aesthetic. I remember being 7 years old, coming inside with muddy shoes after playing in the backyard. My mother's face had gone pale, then red, her voice rising to a pitch that made my ears ring. "Look what you've done! Do you have any idea how much that carpet cost? Why can't you be more careful like Madison?" Madison, who was 5 at the time, who stayed inside coloring at the kitchen table, who never got dirty, never raised her voice, never seemed to want anything that might inconvenience our mother. Even then, the comparison was there, spoken and unspoken. Madison was the good daughter. I was the problem. As we grew older, the pattern solidified like concrete. Madison excelled at everything. Piano recitals where she played flawlessly. Honor roll every semester. Student council president. Prom queen. Every achievement celebrated with elaborate dinner parties where relatives would toast her success while I sat at the table, picking at my food, wondering what I'd have to accomplish to earn even a fraction of that attention. I tried. For years. I joined the debate team and won regional competitions. My mother attended one debate, spent the entire time on her phone, left before the final round. I started painting, developed enough skill that my art teacher entered my work in a citywide showcase. Neither parent came to the opening. Too busy, they said. Madison had a college interview that weekend. By the time I reached college, I'd stopped trying to compete for their attention. I chose a school 3 states away, studied graphic design, built a freelance career that paid my bills and then some. I was good at what I did, but it wasn't prestigious enough. Wasn't the kind of career path my mother could brag about at her book club meetings. Madison became a nonprofit director, managing fundraising campaigns for causes that looked impressive on paper. She lived 15 minutes from our parents, had dinner with them twice a week, called our mother every day. She posted perfectly filtered photos on social media of family gatherings I wasn't invited to, tagged them with hashtags about blessed families and grateful hearts. When I announced my engagement to Ethan, my mother's first question was about his job. What does he do? He's a middle school teacher. The pause said everything. A teacher. Well, that's nice, I suppose. He loves what he does, Mom. He's making a difference in kids' lives. Madison's fiancé is a surgeon. Did I tell you? They're getting engaged next month. He's taking her to Paris to propose. Can you imagine? Paris. I could imagine. I could imagine a man who worked 80-hour weeks, who was never home, who measured his worth by his salary. Ethan wasn't that. Ethan came home at 3:30 every day, spent his evenings grading papers at our kitchen table, talked about his students with genuine affection and concern. He wasn't impressive in the way my mother valued, but he was kind and present and real. My phone buzzes again, pulling me from memories that taste like old wounds. Another text from Madison. Mom wants to know what time tomorrow. She's thinking noon. We'll bring champagne. This is so exciting, Harper. Your house looks amazing in the photos you posted. I haven't posted any photos of our house. I've been careful about that, knowing my family's pattern of suddenly caring about my life only when it suits their purposes. Clara must have tagged me in something, or perhaps one of Ethan's relatives shared pictures from our housewarming party last month. The housewarming. 20 people crammed into our living room, bringing plants and kitchen towels and handwritten recipe cards. Ethan's mother brought her famous lasagna. His father installed our living room curtain rods because we hadn't gotten around to it yet. Clara organized games that had everyone laughing. It was warm and chaotic and everything a celebration should be. I'd posted a few photos from that evening, carefully cropped to show the house, but not the people. My mother must have seen them, must have finally noticed that her eldest daughter had bought a home, was building a life, existed in ways that had nothing to do with her approval or attention, and now she wants to celebrate. Now they all want to come over, to be part of this moment, to be photographed in my new kitchen, to post about supporting family, to maintain the illusion of closeness for an audience that doesn't know the truth. The front door opens, and Ethan calls out a greeting. He appears in the kitchen doorway, still in his work clothes, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up, looking tired but smiling when he sees me. Hey, you, how was your day? He crosses to kiss me, then notices my expression. What's wrong? I hand him my phone, letting him read the texts. His jaw tightens as he scrolls, that small muscle near his ear jumping the way it does when he's angry but trying to stay calm. They want to come here, after everything. He sets the phone down carefully, as if it might explode. What did you say? Nothing yet. I don't know what to say. He pulls out a chair, sits at the kitchen table, gestures for me to join him. I do, bringing my coffee, though it's gone cold. We sit in the afternoon sunlight, and I realize This is what I'd wanted with my parents. These quiet moments, simple conversations, the opportunity to share space without performance or judgment. Talk me through what you're feeling, Ethan says, reaching across the table to take my hand. I don't know. Angry? No. Yes. Maybe. I should be angry. They didn't come to our wedding, Ethan. They said attending would be a waste of their time. Those were the actual words my mother used. And now they want to come celebrate our house? What do you want to do? That's the problem. Part of me wants to tell them exactly what I think of them showing up now. Part of me wants to slam the door in their faces. But another part. I pause, trying to articulate something I barely understand myself. Another part wants to let them in, wants to show them what they've been missing, wants them to see that I built something good without their help. That's not weakness, Ethan says gently. Wanting your parents' recognition, that doesn't make you weak or pathetic. It makes you human. Clara would tell me to tell them to go to hell. Clara's protective of you, but you're not Clara. What does Harper want? I stare at our joined hands, his thumb tracing small circles on my wrist. What do I want? The question seems simple, but contains multitudes of complications. I want them to see what they missed, I say slowly. I want them to walk into this house and realize they weren't part of building it. I want them to meet our friends and understand that we created family without them. I stop, swallowing hard. I want them to feel even a fraction of what I felt when they didn't come to our wedding. Then let them come. I look up, surprised. Really? Really? But on your terms. You set the boundaries. You control how this goes. They don't get to walk in here and take over like they own the place. This is our home, Harper. They're guests, and not particularly welcome ones at that. You'd be okay with that? Having them here after what they did? Ethan's expression hardens. I'll never forgive them for missing our wedding. That's separate from whether I can be civil to them in our home. But I'll follow your lead. If you want them here, I'll be the supportive husband. If you want to tell them no, I'll support that too. This is your decision. I think about it for a long moment, testing different scenarios in my mind. Refusing them entry would feel good in the short term, a clean rejection matching their own. But it wouldn't give me what I actually want, which isn't revenge but recognition. I want them to see who I've become, who Ethan and I are together. I want them to witness the life we've built and understand what they chose to miss. Let them come, I say finally, but we do it my way. What does that mean? A plan starts forming in my mind, pieces clicking together like a puzzle I didn't know I was solving. It means they come over tomorrow at the time they specified. They get a tour of the house. We have some food, maybe that champagne they're bringing, and then I pause, the words forming more clearly as I speak them. And then I tell them exactly how their absence at our wedding affected me. No yelling, no drama, just honest truth about what they did and how it felt. You think they'll listen? Honestly? Probably not. But I'll say it anyway, not for them, for me, so I can move forward knowing I was clear about boundaries and expectations. Ethan squeezes my hand. Then that's what we'll do. I'll make sure we're stocked on food and drinks. You prepare what you want to say. We've faced this together. That night, I lie awake long after Ethan falls asleep beside me. The house settles around us with the particular creaks and sighs of a structure still unfamiliar, still becoming home. Through our bedroom window, I can see stars, unpolluted by city lights, one of the reasons we chose this neighborhood. I think about tomorrow, about seeing my parents and Madison for the first time in months. The last time was at Christmas, an uncomfortable dinner at my parents' house where Madison dominated conversation with stories about her work, where my mother asked pointed questions about when Ethan and I might start a family, where my father said approximately 12 words the entire evening and spent most of the meal checking his phone. I'd brought a homemade pie, spent 3 hours getting the crust just right. Madison had brought expensive wine from a vineyard she'd visited with her fiancé, Connor. My mother gushed over the wine, served it in crystal glasses, took photos for social media. My pie was cut with minimal comment and forgotten on the dessert table. These are the small dismissals that accumulated over years into a wall between us. Any single incident could be explained away, forgiven, forgotten, but together they formed a pattern impossible to ignore, a clear message that I didn't matter, not really, not in ways that counted. Tomorrow, I'll see if anything has changed, if my house, my marriage, my carefully built life might finally be enough to earn the attention I stopped asking for years ago. Part of me knows it won't matter. They'll tour the rooms, make complimentary noises, post photos that make them look like involved parents, and nothing fundamental will shift. But another part, the part that's still that 7-year-old girl, hoping her mother might notice her artwork taped to the refrigerator, that part wants desperately to believe that maybe, possibly, this time could be different. Morning arrives with unseasonable warmth for October. I wake early, before Ethan's alarm, and spend time preparing the house. Not for them, I tell myself. For me. Because I want our space to reflect who we are, not perform for their approval. I arrange fresh flowers in the living room, the same wildflowers Ethan brought home yesterday from the farmer's market. I set out the ceramic bowls we bought on our honeymoon, fill them with the apples we picked at an orchard last weekend. I make sure our wedding photos are prominently displayed, impossible to miss, a reminder of the day they chose to skip. Ethan emerges from the bedroom at 7, finds me rearranging coffee table books for the 3rd time. He wraps his arms around me from behind, chin resting on my shoulder. It looks perfect. Stop fussing. I'm not fussing. I'm arranging. You've arranged that stack 4 times. Come have breakfast. We eat on the back patio, a luxury our apartment never offered. Toast and eggs and fresh coffee while birds sing in the trees we'll eventually learn to name. It's peaceful in a way that makes my chest ache. This simple morning routine that my parents will never understand the value of. What time did your mother say? Ethan asks, checking his watch. Noon. But knowing her, they'll be here at 11:45. She's always early to everything. She says it's being polite. I think it's a power move, keeping people off balance. Then we have a few hours. Want to talk through what you're planning to say? I consider this, testing words in my mind. I think I just need to be honest. Tell them that their absence at our wedding hurt me, that their sudden interest in our house feels hollow when they couldn't be bothered to attend the most important day of my life, that I'm not going to pretend anymore that everything's fine between us when it's not. That sounds perfect, simple and clear. You think they'll understand? Ethan's expression tells me what he won't say out loud. We both know my family's capacity for understanding extends exactly as far as their interest, which historically hasn't been very far when it comes to me. I think you'll feel better having said it, he offers instead. Sometimes that has to be enough. By 11:30, I'm pacing the living room. Ethan sits on the couch, watching me wear paths in our new rug, not trying to calm me down because he knows I need to move, need to channel this nervous energy somewhere productive. They might not come, I say for the 4th time. They might decide at the last minute that something more important came up, or they'll show up 2 hours late with excuses about traffic, or they'll be here in 15 minutes exactly like they said. That would be worse somehow. If they actually show up on time, like this matters to them when we know it doesn't. My phone rings at exactly 11:43, my mother's name on the screen. We're pulling into your driveway, she announces without greeting. Madison couldn't make it. Something came up with work, but your father and I are here. Come let us in. The call disconnects before I can respond. I look at Ethan, something cold settling in my stomach. Madison's not coming. Of course she's not. We walk to the front door together. Through the window beside it, I can see my parents' silver Mercedes in our driveway, my mother already out of the car, adjusting her designer handbag, my father emerging more slowly from the driver's side. I open the door before they can knock. My mother's face breaks into a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes, the expression she uses for acquaintances and service workers. "Harper, look at this place. It's even better than the photos." She moves forward as if to hug me, and I step back instinctively. She doesn't seem to notice, already peering past me into the house. "Can we come in? We brought champagne, like Madison said." "Well, your father did. It's in the car." My father nods at me, that vague acknowledgement that passes for greeting in our family. "Nice to see you, Harper. The neighborhood looks good." "Come in," I say, stepping aside, feeling Ethan's presence solid behind me. They enter like they own the place. My mother's heels clicking on our hardwood floors, her gaze sweeping across every surface, cataloging, judging, comparing. I can almost see her mental list forming. The couch is nice, but not expensive enough. The artwork is pretty, but not from any gallery she'd recognize. The space is clean, but lacks the cold perfection she values. "Where's Madison?" I ask, though I already know any answer will be a carefully constructed excuse. "Oh, and she had a donor meeting, last-minute thing. You know how her work is, always demanding. She felt terrible about missing this." My mother waves a hand dismissively, as if my sister's absence is inconsequential. She made me promise to take lots of photos to send her. Of course, not photos for Madison to see our home, but photos to prove they were here, evidence of family connection to share on social media, another performance for an audience that doesn't know the reality. "Would you like a tour?" Ethan asks, his voice polite but cool. "That would be lovely." My mother beams at him, that practiced warmth she uses on people she considers important enough to charm. "You've done so well for yourself, Ethan. Middle school teaching, that's so admirable. Must be satisfying work." The compliment is poisoned with condescension, the implication clear that admirable and satisfying are consolation prizes for career choices that don't impress at dinner parties. We show them through the house room by room. My mother makes appropriate noises, takes photos constantly, her phone raised like a shield between us. My father trails behind, occasionally commenting on structural features or pointing out maintenance issues we'll need to address. "The kitchen is spacious," my mother says, running her hand along our countertops. "Not granite, but this laminate is quite convincing. Very budget-friendly choice." "We like the color," I say flatly. "Of course, and that's what matters, that you're happy with it." She smiles at me, that particular smile that says I'm being difficult by taking offense at her barely veiled criticism. In the living room, she finally notices our wedding photos. She picks up the largest one, studies it for a long moment. Ethan and me under an arch of flowers, my dress flowing in the breeze, both of us laughing at something his cousin said right before the photographer snapped the shot. It's my favorite photo from that day, capturing genuine joy uncorrupted by awareness of the camera. "Your dress was lovely," my mother says, setting the frame down carefully. "Very simple. Classic." Simple, the word she uses when she means insufficient. My dress had been perfect, exactly what I wanted, but not the elaborate ball gown she'd described when she'd imagined my theoretical wedding during my teenage years. "The wedding was beautiful," Ethan says, his voice carrying an edge now. Everyone who attended said it was the best ceremony they'd ever been to. Personal, meaningful. My mother's smile tightens. I'm sure it was lovely. Such a shame we couldn't be there. But Madison's award ceremony, you understand. "Actually," I say, surprised by how steady my voice sounds. "I don't understand. I've never understood." She looks at me, confusion flickering across her features. "Harper, we've been through this. It was a scheduling conflict. These things happen." "It wasn't a scheduling conflict, Mom. The ceremony was on Saturday afternoon. Madison's gala was Friday evening. You chose not to come." Well, we needed to support your sister. That award was a big deal for her career. And my wedding wasn't a big deal? Your daughter getting married wasn't important enough to warrant a few hours of your time? My father shifts uncomfortably, looking toward the door as if planning escape routes. My mother's expression hardens. That familiar look that says, I'm being dramatic again, making mountains from molehills. Harper, don't start. We're here now, aren't we? We came to celebrate your new house. Can't we just enjoy this moment? That's what I don't understand, I continue, the words I practiced last night flowing more easily now that I'm actually saying them. You couldn't come to my wedding, but you'll come to see my house. What changed? What made this worth your time when that wasn't? This isn't the time for this discussion, my mother says, her voice tight. When is the time? When you're not here? When we're not talking at all? That seems to be your preference anyway. Ethan touches my arm gently, not stopping me, but reminding me he's here. I draw strength from his presence, continuing. You texted me after I sent the wedding invitation. Do you remember what you said? My mother's face pales slightly. Harper. You asked if I was crazy. You asked why you would waste your time on me. Those were your exact words. Waste your time on me. I didn't mean it like that. You're taking it out of context. What context makes that acceptable? What possible interpretation makes it okay to tell your daughter that attending her wedding would be a waste of time? My father finally speaks. Your mother was stressed. Madison's event was complicated to plan around. Then say that. Say you can't come because of a scheduling conflict. Don't say I'm not worth your time. This is why we didn't come, my mother snaps, her careful composure cracking. Because you always make everything about you, always so sensitive, always looking for reasons to be hurt. Madison doesn't need this constant validation. She just does what needs to be done without all this emotional drama. The words hit like physical blows, each one landing in places still tender from years of similar strikes. But something has shifted in me. I'm not that little girl anymore, tracking mud through the house and apologizing for existing. I'm a grown woman in my own home, and I don't have to accept this treatment. You're right, I say quietly. I do want validation from my parents. That's not something I should have to apologize for. Children are supposed to want their parents' love and approval. That's normal. What's not normal is parents who can't be bothered to show up for their child's major life events. We're here now. My father tries again. You're here for the house, for the photos, for whatever story you're going to tell your friends about supporting your daughter, but you weren't there for the marriage. You didn't meet Ethan's family. You didn't see me walk down the aisle. You didn't dance with me or toast our future or any of the things parents do at weddings. My mother sets her phone down on the coffee table with careful precision. If you didn't want us here, you should have said so. We can leave. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I want you to acknowledge what you did. I want you to understand that your absence hurt me. I want you to see that you can't just show up now and expect everything to be fine without ever addressing what happened. What do you want from us, Harper? An apology? Fine. I'm sorry we couldn't attend your wedding. There. Can we move on now? The apology is worse than no apology at all. Delivered with irritation rather than remorse, another item checked off a list of obligations. I want you to mean it, I say, my voice breaking slightly. I want you to actually see me, not as your disappointing daughter or Madison's less impressive sister, but as a person who deserves basic respect and consideration. This is ridiculous, my mother says, grabbing her phone. Richard, get your keys, we're leaving. Wait, I say, surprising myself. They pause, my father halfway to the door, my mother clutching her phone like a lifeline. I'm not trying to punish you. I'm trying to have an honest conversation about our relationship. There's nothing wrong with our relationship, my mother insists. You're the one creating problems where there aren't any. Mom, you didn't come to my wedding. And I apologized for that. What more do you want? I want you to understand why it mattered. I want you to care that you hurt me. The silence that follows is thick and uncomfortable. My father looks at the floor. My mother's jaw is tight, her eyes bright with anger or tears. I can't tell which. Finally, she speaks, her voice cold. You know what your problem is, Harper. You're so busy being a victim that you can't see when people are trying to support you. We came here today. We brought champagne. We wanted to celebrate with you. But that's not enough for you. Nothing is ever enough. You're right, I say, and something in my tone makes them both look at me. Nothing you do now can make up for what you didn't do then, but I'm done pretending it doesn't matter. I'm done acting grateful for scraps of attention when you give Madison full meals of validation and love. Your sister earned that attention, my mother says sharply. She worked hard, achieved things, made us proud. What have you done besides complain about how we don't treat you the same? The words should devastate me. Maybe a year ago they would have, but standing in my own kitchen, Ethan beside me, in the home we built with our own money and effort and love, I feel something unexpected. Not devastation, relief. Relief that we're finally being honest. Relief that the pretense has dropped. Relief that I can stop hoping they'll suddenly transform into the parents I've always wanted them to be. You're right, I say again. We're different, Madison and I. She's the daughter you wanted. I'm the daughter you got stuck with. And you know what? That's okay. I'm done trying to be someone I'm not, to earn your approval. Drama as always, my mother mutters, but she's not looking at me anymore. I'm going to say one more thing, I continue, and then you can leave or stay, whatever you prefer. But I need to say this for me, not for you. They wait, my father leaning against the door frame, my mother with her hand on her purse like she might bolt at any moment. I spent my whole life trying to figure out what was wrong with me, why you loved Madison so easily but found me so difficult, why her achievements mattered and mine didn't, why she deserved your time and presence while I got excuses and dismissals. And I finally realized that nothing is wrong with me. I'm exactly who I'm supposed to be. The problem isn't that I'm deficient. The problem is that you never saw me clearly enough to know who that person actually is. My mother's face has gone very still. Are you finished? Almost. You can't be part of the good things in my life if you weren't willing to show up for the important moments. You don't get to celebrate this house when you wouldn't celebrate our marriage. You don't get to post photos and pretend we're close when you told me spending time with me would be a waste. Either you're in my life fully with all the uncomfortable conversations and honest feelings that requires, or you're not in it at all. But I'm done with this halfway thing where you show up when it's convenient and disappear when it's not. The silence stretches long enough that I wonder if anyone will speak at all. Then my father clears his throat. We should probably go, he says quietly. My mother nods, already moving toward the door, her heels clicking sharply against our floors. My father follows, not looking at me, his face carefully blank in that way he's perfected over decades of avoiding emotional confrontation. At the door, my mother pauses. For a moment, I think she might say something real, something honest, something that acknowledges anything I've said. Instead, she straightens her jacket and turns to face me with that practiced smile. When you're ready to have a mature conversation without all this emotional manipulation, you know where to find us. But I won't stand here and be attacked in your home after we drove all this way to support you. She looks at Ethan. I hope you know what you got yourself into, marrying into this family. Then she's gone, my father trailing behind her, the door clicking shut with a finality that echoes through our suddenly too quiet house. I stand frozen for a moment, processing what just happened. Then my knees buckle, and Ethan catches me, guiding me to the couch, holding me while I shake with something that's not quite crying, but not quite anything else either. You did it, he says into my hair. You said what you needed to say. I don't feel better. Shouldn't I feel better? Give it time. We sit there for a long while, afternoon sunlight moving across our floors, the house settling around us. Eventually, Ethan gets up, returns with glasses of water, with tissues, with his steady presence that asks nothing and gives everything. Do you think they'll come back? I ask. I don't know. Do you want them to? I don't know either. Part of me does. Part of me hopes this was enough to make them actually think about how they've treated me. But another part is relieved they're gone. Is that terrible? It's honest. He takes my hand. You gave them a choice, Harper. You were clear about what you need from them. Now it's up to them to decide if they can give you that. My phone buzzes. A text from my mother. I hope you're satisfied. You've succeeded in driving a wedge in this family. Your sister is very upset that we had to leave early. I show Ethan, who reads it and shakes his head. She's making it about Madison again. Of course she is. I type a response, delete it, type another, delete that too. Finally, I settle on simple truth. I set a boundary. That's not the same as driving a wedge. I'm sorry you're upset, but I meant what I said. I hit send before I can second-guess myself. 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Then nothing. No response comes. The afternoon stretches into evening. We order pizza, eat it on the couch, watch a movie neither of us really pay attention to. My phone stays silent. No calls from my father, no texts from Madison, no photos posted to social media of their visit that never really happened. What are you thinking? Ethan asks, during a scene I've rewound 3 times without watching. That it's strange. All this time, I thought if I could just make them see me, understand me, everything would be different. But now that I've said everything I needed to say, now that it's all out there, I don't feel the way I expected. How do you feel? I consider this, testing the sensation like probing a sore tooth. Sad. Definitely sad, but also kind of free. Like I've been carrying this weight of trying to be good enough, trying to earn their love, and I finally put it down. I didn't realize how heavy it was until I wasn't holding it anymore. That makes sense? Does it get easier? This whole choosing yourself thing? I think so. I think the first step is always the hardest. That night, I dream about my childhood home. In the dream, I'm 7 again, tracking mud through the kitchen. But when my mother appears, instead of yelling, she simply looks at me with tired eyes. I don't know how to love you, Dream Mother says. I know I'm supposed to, but I don't know how. It's not that hard, Dream Me responds. You just have to see me. But I don't know who you are. I wake with the words still echoing. Ethan sleeping peacefully beside me, dawn just beginning to lighten our bedroom window. The dream feels significant in ways I can't quite articulate, like my subconscious finally accepting something my conscious mind has been resisting. My mother doesn't know how to love me. Maybe she never has. And that's not because I'm unlovable, but because she's limited in ways that have nothing to do with my worth or value. I can't make her see me if she's determined not to look. The realization should hurt more than it does. Instead, it's almost peaceful. This acceptance that some things can't be fixed, some relationships can't be saved, some people can't give what they don't have to give. I get up carefully, not wanting to wake Ethan, and go to the kitchen. Through the window above the sink, I can see our backyard in the early morning light, still rough around the edges, still needing work, but full of potential. Ethan wants to build that deck. I want to plant flowers, maybe a small vegetable garden. These are the things I can control. Not whether my mother finally sees my worth, not whether my father speaks up for me, not whether Madison recognizes me as more than competition to be defeated, but I can control what I plant in my own yard, what I nurture and tend, and help grow. My phone lights up on the counter, a text from Clara. Heard from your mom that yesterday didn't go well. You okay? I smile at that. Of course, my mother reached out to Clara, probably looking for sympathy, probably painting me as unreasonable and emotional. Clara knows better. I'm okay. Actually better than okay. I said what I needed to say. Proud of you. Want to meet for coffee later? Yes. Definitely yes. Another text comes in, this one from Ethan's mother. Ethan mentioned you had a difficult day yesterday. Just wanted to say we're thinking of you both. Come over for dinner this week? I stare at that text for a long moment, feeling something warm unfold in my chest. This is what family should feel like. This easy offering of support. This assumption that we belong together. This simple invitation that expects nothing but welcomes everything. Over the next few days, I start to notice something shifting inside me. The constant low-level anxiety that had been my baseline for years begins to ease. I stop checking my phone obsessively, waiting for messages from my mother that might never come. I stop second-guessing every decision, wondering how she would judge it. I stop carrying that weight of not being enough because I finally accepted that I am enough, just as I am, whether she sees it or not. A week after the confrontation, Madison finally calls. I almost don't answer, but curiosity wins. Harper. Can we talk? Her voice is different somehow, less certain than usual. I'm listening. Mom told me what happened, her version anyway. I wanted to hear yours. I consider hanging up, consider protecting myself from another round of being told I'm too sensitive, too dramatic, too much. But something in Madison's tone stops me. Why do you want to hear my version? Because Connor and I are planning our wedding, and Mom's already trying to take over everything, deciding on the venue, the guest list, the colors. It's like she's planning her dream wedding using my actual wedding. And when I tried to push back, she said I was being difficult, like you. A pause. And I started thinking about your wedding, about how we didn't go. You didn't think about it before? Honestly? No, She trails off. I thought it was no big deal. People miss weddings all the time. But now that it's my wedding, and Mom's acting like it's her event to plan, I'm starting to see things differently. I don't know what to say to this. An apology from Madison would feel hollow after years of being compared and dismissed. But this admission, this recognition, feels more genuine than anything she's said to me in years. What do you want from me, Madison? I don't know. Maybe just to say I get it now, why you were upset, why you're angry with them. I'm not angry anymore. That's the weird part. I was, for a long time, but now I'm just sad. Sad that we spent so much time competing when we should have been supporting each other. Sad that Mom pit us against each other instead of loving us both. Sad that I don't really know my sister because we were too busy being rivals. Madison is quiet for so long I think she might have hung up. Then, can I come visit? Not with Mom and Dad, just me. I'd like to see your house. Really see it, not just take photos for Instagram. Why? Because you're my sister, and I think I've been a pretty terrible one. And I'd like to try being better, if you'll let me. I close my eyes, leaning against the kitchen counter. Part of me wants to protect myself, to say no, to keep the walls up that I've built so carefully. But another part remembers us as children before the comparison started, when we used to build blanket forts and share secrets. Okay, but not right away. I need some time. I understand. Just when you're ready, I'll be here. After we hang up, I tell Ethan about the conversation. He listens carefully, then asks the question I'm already asking myself. Do you believe her? I don't know. Maybe. She sounded different. But I've thought things were changing before and been wrong. So what will you do? Wait and see. If she's serious about changing how we relate to each other, she'll prove it through actions, not just words. And if she's not, well, I'll be okay either way. That night, we have dinner with Ethan's parents. His mother serves pot roast, asks about our week without prying, tells embarrassing stories about Ethan's childhood that make us all laugh. His father helps clean up, chats with me about the book he's reading, treats me like I've always been part of their family. This is what I wanted. Not grand gestures or dramatic apologies, just simple acceptance, the assumption that I belong. That knowledge that my presence matters, not because of what I achieve or how I compare to someone else, but simply because I exist. On the drive home, I think about the difference between the family I was born into and the family I've chosen. How Ethan's parents showed up to our wedding with joy and celebration. How Clara held my hand through the hardest moments. How Angela, my elderly neighbor, brought casseroles and asked how I was doing. How my co-workers sent cards and gifts without being asked. Family, I'm learning, isn't just about blood. It's about showing up. It's about seeing people clearly and loving them anyway. It's about being present for the important moments and the ordinary ones too. 2 weeks pass. My mother doesn't call. My father sends one brief text asking if I'm still planning to attend Christmas dinner at their house. I don't respond right away, taking time to think about what I actually want. Finally, I text back. I'll come if Madison is welcome to bring Connor, and if there's genuine desire to spend time together, not just perform family for appearances. If that's not something you're interested in, I understand, but I won't pretend everything's fine when it's not. His response comes 3 hours later. Your mother needs time. She's upset. I understand. Let me know if circumstances change. Clara comes over for coffee the next morning, settling into our kitchen like she belongs there, which she does. She's been more family to me than my own family in so many ways. How are you really doing? She asks, wrapping her hands around her mug. Better than I expected. Sad sometimes, but also relieved. Is that strange? Not strange at all. You've been carrying this weight of trying to fix something that was never your responsibility to fix. Setting it down doesn't mean you don't care. It just means you're choosing to care for yourself too. My mom hasn't called. Are you surprised? No. Yes. I don't know. Part of me keeps expecting her to reach out, to try to work things out. But I think I'm finally accepting that she might not. That this might be how our relationship ends. Clara reaches across the table, squeezing my hand, or how it transforms. Maybe not today or next week, but people can change. Sometimes they do. Do you think she will? Change, I mean. I think that's the wrong question. The question is, have you changed? And I think you have. You've found your voice. You've set boundaries. You've chosen yourself. That's huge, Harper. Whether your mom changes or not, you've already won. Won. The word feels strange applied to family relationships, but maybe Clara's right. Maybe winning isn't about getting my mother to see me the way I want to be seen. Maybe it's about seeing myself clearly and knowing my worth regardless of her vision. A month passes. Madison texts occasionally. Nothing deep, just small check-ins. How are you? Thinking about you. That sort of thing. I respond cautiously, testing the waters, not ready to trust fully, but willing to leave the door cracked open. Thanksgiving approaches. Ethan's mother invites us to their celebration, which we accept gratefully. My own mother sends a group text to the family announcing their Thanksgiving plans at a restaurant, casual tone suggesting everything is normal, no acknowledgement of our last conversation. I don't respond to the group text. Madison does, saying she and Connor have other plans. My father sends a thumbs-up emoji. And that's it, our family tradition, such as it was, dissolving without ceremony or farewell. The day before Thanksgiving, I'm at the grocery store, buying ingredients for the pie I'm bringing to Ethan's parents when I see her. My mother, pushing a cart down the produce aisle, looking older somehow, more tired than I remember. She sees me at the same moment. We both freeze, separated by displays of seasonal squash and the weight of everything unsaid. For a moment, I think she'll turn around, pretend she didn't see me. Instead, she approaches, and I brace myself for whatever's coming. Harper. My name sounds uncertain in her mouth. Mom? We stand there awkwardly, other shoppers navigating around us. I notice she's alone, no shopping list in hand, her cart nearly empty. How have you been? She asks finally. Good. Busy. We're hosting Ethan's family for game night next week. That sounds nice. She adjusts her grip on the cart handle. Madison told me she's been texting you. She has. She says she's not coming to Thanksgiving at the restaurant, that she and Connor are going to his family's house instead. I don't respond, unsure what she wants from me. Commiseration, an apology, company in her disappointment. I suppose you're going to Ethan's family too? His mother invited us, yes? My mother nods, looking at the apples in her cart like they might have answers. Your father and I will probably just order in. The restaurant thing seemed like too much trouble. For the first time, I see something in her face I've never noticed before. Loneliness, regret maybe, or just the reality of choices coming home to roost. You could join us, I hear myself say, surprising both of us, at Ethan's parents'. I'd need to check with them first, but I think they'd welcome you. She looks up sharply, suspicion crossing her features. Why would you invite us after what happened? Because you're my mother, and because Thanksgiving shouldn't be Chinese takeout eaten alone. But I need to be clear. If you come, there won't be any pretending. No performing for an audience. Just honest conversation and real connection. If you can't do that, then it's better if we don't. You always have to make everything so complicated, she says, but there's less heat in it than before. I'm not making it complicated. I'm making it honest. Those aren't the same thing. She's quiet for a long moment, and I watch her wrestle with something internal. Finally, she speaks, her voice smaller than I've ever heard it. I don't know how to do that. Be honest like you want. I don't know how to have the conversations you need. Then maybe start by just listening. You don't have to fix anything or defend anything. Just listen. And if I can't give you what you need, then at least we'll both know we tried. She nods slowly, not agreeing or disagreeing, just acknowledging. I'll talk to your father about Thanksgiving. Let me know by tomorrow morning. I need to give Ethan's mother enough notice. We part without hugging, without the false warmth that used to characterize our interactions. But there's something in the air between us. Not reconciliation exactly, but possibility. A tiny crack in the wall we've both built, letting in the first fragile rays of light. That evening, I tell Ethan about the encounter. He listens carefully, then asks, "Do you want them to come?" I honestly don't know. Part of me does. Part of me thinks it's a terrible idea. Call my mom. See what she thinks? I do, and Ethan's mother responds exactly as I hoped she would. Of course they're welcome. Any family of yours is family of ours. But Harper, don't feel obligated. If this feels too soon or too hard, it's okay to say no. I think I want to try. If they're willing to really be present, not just perform, then maybe this could be a first step towards something better. Then we'll do everything we can to make it work. The next morning, my father texts, "Your mother and I would like to come for Thanksgiving, if the invitation still stands." It does. Dinner is at 3. Let me know if you need the address. Thanksgiving morning dawns clear and cold. Ethan and I drive to his parents' house early, helping with preparations. His mother has cooked enough food for an army. His father is setting up extra chairs in the dining room. And the house smells like everything good and warm and welcoming. "They're really coming?" Ethan's mother asks, checking the turkey. They said they would. Whether they actually show up is another question. Well, we'll have a wonderful day either way. That's the beauty of family. You choose who matters. At 2:45, my phone rings. My mother. "We're in your driveway," she says. I think, "Is this the right house? There are a lot of cars." That's probably Ethan's aunt and uncle. "Come to the front door. I'll meet you." I take a deep breath, squeeze Ethan's hand, and walk to the door. Through the window, I see my parents approaching slowly. My mother clutching a store-bought pie. My father's hands shoved in his pockets. They look uncomfortable and uncertain, so different from their usual confident presence. I open the door before they can knock. "Hi, thank you for coming." "We brought pie," my mother says, thrusting the box toward me like a shield. "I didn't know what kind to get, so I chose apple. Everyone likes apple, right?" "Apple's perfect." Ethan's mother appears behind me, all warmth and grace. "You must be Harper's parents. I'm Susan, and I'm so glad you could join us. Please, come in." She ushers them inside with such genuine welcome that I see my mother's shoulders relax slightly. My father's hands come out of his pockets. They remove their coats, accept offered drinks, are introduced to various aunts and uncles and cousins who greet them like they belong. Dinner is loud and chaotic in the best way. Multiple conversations happening simultaneously. People reaching across each other for serving dishes. Laughter punctuating stories that get more embellished with each telling. It's everything my childhood dinners weren't. This joyful messiness, this assumption that everyone has something valuable to contribute. I watch my parents navigate this unfamiliar territory. My mother is quiet, observing more than participating. My father responds when spoken to, but doesn't volunteer much. They're fish out of water in this environment where affection flows freely and no one's keeping score. After dinner, we gather in the living room for the traditional sharing of what we're thankful for. It's corny, but Ethan's family takes it seriously. One by one, people speak about health and family and small miracles they've witnessed over the past year. When it's my turn, I look around the room at these faces that have become so dear to me. I'm thankful for chosen family, I say, for people who show up not because they have to, but because they want to, for second chances at belonging. My mother's eyes meet mine across the room, and something passes between us. Not understanding exactly, but recognition of the words beneath my words. When it's her turn, she's silent for so long, I think she might pass. Then she speaks, her voice unsteady. "I'm thankful for invitations I didn't deserve, and for daughters who are braver than I've ever been." It's not an apology, not quite, but it's closer than she's ever come to acknowledging her part in our broken relationship. I nod at her, accepting the offering for what it is. A first small step on a very long road. The evening winds down slowly. People start saying their goodbyes, bundling into coats, collecting leftover containers. My parents hover near the door, uncertain of the protocol for leaving. "Thank you for having us," my mother says to Susan. "Your home is lovely. Your family is lovely." "You're welcome anytime," Susan responds, and I can tell she means it. Family dinners are every other Sunday, if you'd ever like to join. My parents don't commit, but they don't reject the invitation either. Outside, in the driveway, we stand in the cold November air, breath misting between us. "That was nice," my father says. "Different from what I expected." "What did you expect?" "I don't know. More formal, maybe. More complicated." "It's not complicated when people are just being themselves." My mother pulls her coat tighter. "Harper, I've been thinking about what you said, about boundaries and honesty and all of that. I still don't completely understand what you want from me, but I'm trying to, if you're willing to be patient while I figure it out." "I can be patient, but I need you to actually try, not just say you're trying." "I know." She looks at me directly for the first time all evening. "I'm sorry I didn't come to your wedding. I'm sorry I said what I said about wasting time. I was wrong." The apology is simple, unadorned, and surprisingly genuine. It doesn't fix everything. Years of damage can't be repaired with a single conversation on a cold November night, but it's real, and that matters. "Thank you," I say. "That means more than you know." "Can we try again? Not go back to how things were, but try something new?" "I'd like that, but slowly and with clear communication about expectations." "Slowly. I can do slowly." They leave, my father's taillights disappearing down the street. Ethan comes out to join me, wrapping his arms around me from behind. "How are you feeling?" Cautiously hopeful, which is more than I felt yesterday. That's progress. Inside, we help Susan and Tom clean up, loading the dishwasher, putting away leftovers. Susan catches my eye across the kitchen. "Your mother seemed genuinely moved by the evening." I think she was. This isn't her usual environment. But maybe that's good. Maybe seeing how other families interact will help her understand what I've been trying to explain. Whatever happens, you have us. You know that, right? I know, and that makes all the difference. Over the next few weeks, my mother makes small efforts. She texts occasionally. Nothing profound, just checking in. She asks about our plans for the holidays. She sends an article she thought I might find interesting. These tiny gestures that would be unremarkable in most families feel revolutionary in ours. Madison and I meet for coffee, just the two of us. It's awkward at first, years of competition and comparison creating walls between us. But slowly, carefully, we start dismantling those walls. We talk about our childhoods, comparing experiences, realizing we both felt the weight of our mother's expectations in different ways. I thought she loved you more, I admit. You got all the attention, all the praise. And I thought she loved you more because you didn't have to be perfect. You got to just be yourself, while I had to be the daughter who excelled at everything. That's not how it looked from my side. I know. I'm starting to realize that she damaged both of us, just in different ways. Can we fix it? Our relationship? Madison considers this, stirring her coffee thoughtfully. I think we can build something new. Not fix what was broken, because maybe it was never whole to begin with, but create something better from here forward. I'd like that. It's not a Hollywood ending. There's no dramatic reconciliation where everyone cries and hugs and promises to be better. Real life doesn't work that way. Instead, there are small moments, incremental progress, tiny steps toward understanding. Christmas approaches, and this year feels different. My parents invite us to their house, but it's a genuine invitation, not a summons. They ask if we have other plans, if this time works for us, if there's anything we'd particularly like to eat. These small considerations that should be basic feel significant coming from them. We go, and it's still imperfect. My mother still makes comments that sting sometimes. My father still retreats into silence when conversations get uncomfortable. But there's also effort. Real, visible effort to be present, to listen, to see me as separate from Madison, as valuable in my own right. Madison comes with Connor, and for the first time, we feel like actual sisters instead of competitors performing for an audience. We exchange gifts that show we've been paying attention to each other's actual interests and preferences. We laugh at shared memories without the sharp edge of old resentments. When Ethan and I drive home that evening, I feel something I haven't felt after a family gathering in years. Peace. Not perfect happiness, not the erasure of all past hurt, but peace with where things are and hope for where they might go. You did it, Ethan says, taking my hand as he drives. You stood up for yourself and created space for real relationship. We did it. I couldn't have done any of this without you. That's what partners are for, supporting each other through the hard stuff. At home, we sit on our couch in the house that started all of this, looking at the tree we decorated together, the lights reflecting in our wedding photos on the bookshelf. I think about that text from my mother months ago, announcing she was coming to see our house. How angry and hurt I'd been, how I'd planned a confrontation that changed everything. Do you regret it? Ethan asks, as if reading my thoughts, standing up to them, making them leave. No, it needed to happen. If I'd just accepted their sudden interest without addressing the wedding, Without setting boundaries, we'd still be in that dysfunctional pattern. Sometimes relationships need to break before they can heal properly. And has it healed? Your relationship with them? It's healing. That's different from healed. We have a long way to go, but we're moving in the right direction, which is more than I could have said 6 months ago. My phone buzzes with a text. My mother. Thank you for coming today. It meant a lot having you here. Both of you. I show Ethan, who smiles. See? Progress. I type back. Thank you for inviting us and for trying. I know it's not easy. Her response comes quickly. You're worth the effort. I should have realized that sooner. I set the phone down, feeling tears prick my eyes. Not sad tears. Something else. Relief, maybe. Or gratitude. Or just the simple acknowledgement that sometimes people do change. Sometimes relationships do heal. Sometimes standing up for yourself creates space for something better to grow. What are you thinking? Ethan asks. That I spent so many years waiting for my parents to see me. And I finally realized that whether they saw me or not, I had to see myself, know my own worth, set my own boundaries. Once I did that, once I stopped needing their validation to know I was enough, that's when things started shifting. Very wise, Mrs. Morrison. I lean against him, watching the Christmas lights twinkle, feeling the warmth of our home around us, this space we created, these relationships we've built, this life we're living on our own terms. My family may never be perfect. My mother may never fully understand the depth of hurt her dismissal caused. My father may never learn to speak up when it matters. Madison and I may always have complicated dynamics influenced by years of being pitted against each other. But we're trying, all of us, in our own imperfect ways, trying to do better. And maybe that's enough. Maybe the goal isn't perfection, but honest effort. Not erasing the past, but learning from it. Not forgetting hurt, but choosing to move forward anyway. Outside, snow begins to fall, the first of the season. Tomorrow, we'll wake up to a world transformed by white, everything looking fresh and new. It feels appropriate somehow, this visible reminder that change is possible, that landscapes can shift, that what looks barren and cold can become beautiful overnight. I think about the woman I was 6 months ago, standing in this kitchen, reading that text from my mother announcing she was coming over. How scared I'd been, how angry, how uncertain about what to do. I'd wondered then what I would do when they showed up. The answer turned out to be simpler and more complicated than I could have imagined. I told them the truth. I set boundaries. I chose myself while leaving the door open for them to choose better too. And slowly, painfully, imperfectly, we're building something new. Not the family I wished for as a child, not the perfect reconciliation of movies and books, but something real and honest and, in its own messy way, beautiful. My phone buzzes one more time. Madison. Thank you for not giving up on us, on me. I know I don't deserve your patience, but I'm grateful for it anyway. I type back, that's what sisters do. We don't give up on each other. And I realize, as I send it, that I actually believe it. For the first time in years, I believe that Madison and I can be real sisters, not just people who share parents, that my mother and I can have an honest relationship built on mutual respect, that my father might learn to speak up and be present. It won't happen overnight. There will be setbacks and hurt feelings and moments when old patterns reassert themselves. But we're trying, and that's something. That's everything, really. Ethan pulls me closer, and I close my eyes, breathing in the scent of pine from our tree, feeling the warmth of our home, hearing the quiet hum of our life together. This is what I fought for. Not revenge against my family, not the satisfaction of being right, but this, peace in my own home, clarity about my worth, relationships built on honesty instead of performance. When they showed up that day, uninvited and unwelcome, expecting celebration without having earned it, I could have slammed the door in their faces. Part of me wanted to. Part of me thought they deserved it, but I chose something harder and braver. I chose truth. I chose to make them see what they'd done, to understand the hurt they'd caused, to recognize that relationships require actual presence and effort. And somehow, miraculously, that choice opened a door that had been closed for years. Not all the way, not easily, but enough to let in light, enough to create possibility, enough to begin again. Outside, the snow continues falling, and inside, in our home, in our life, Ethan and I sit together in the quiet. Tomorrow will bring whatever it brings. More texts from my mother, probably. Plans to make with Madison. The ongoing work of building healthy relationships from damaged foundations. But tonight, right now, in this moment, I'm exactly where I need to be. With the person who chose me completely. In the home we built together. With family, both blood and chosen, surrounding us with love that doesn't demand perfection, only presence. I think about that text one more time, the one that started everything. Your father, sister, and I are coming over tomorrow. We need to celebrate your new place. They had no idea what they were walking into. No idea that I was done accepting scraps and calling them meals. No idea that I'd finally found my voice and wasn't afraid to use it. What did I do when they showed up? I told them the truth. I set boundaries. I chose myself. And in choosing myself, I gave all of us the chance to choose something better. Whether they take that chance or not isn't up to me. But knowing I offered it, knowing I did what I needed to do, knowing I stood up for myself while still leaving room for reconciliation, that knowledge settles in my chest like warmth, like peace, like coming home to myself after years of being lost. The snow falls, the lights twinkle. Ethan's breathing evens out as he dozes against me, and I sit here in this moment, in this life I've built. And I feel something I haven't felt in years. I feel whole.